International Teachers Day, also known as World Teachers Day, is an internationally recognized holiday held annually on the 5th of October in most countries of the world, including Nigeria. The day began in 1994 to commemorate the implementation of the 1966 UNESCO ILO recommendation dealing with the status of teachers, which is a standard-setting instrument that answers the status and situation of teachers around the world. This year, World Teachers Day celebration will focus on the theme, the teachers we need for the education we want. The question has always been, what direction should education take in the largest black nation on the planet as it concerns our children? What do they need to make them future leaders that they should be? Now, apart from the required skills, should morals not also take center stage? It's often said that no matter what skill you instill in a child, if he or she lacks the morals, it's just like putting water in a basket. How can we bring back that discipline that was seen among our schools and children in the 60s, 70s, 80s, up to the mid-90s? Who should rather be blamed for the lack of it? Well, these and more as it concerns lack of discipline among our children, and a total look of how the educational sector is in Nigeria as it concerns teachers is what this edition of The Big Story is all about. And we're talking about Teachers' Day celebration, bringing back that discipline and morals to our children. Well, anyway, we do know the theme of this year's World Teachers' Day is basically the teachers we need for the education we want. But as much as we want to look at all of that, it will also be right for us to look at how our teachers are being treated. And not just only that, but also look at the problem of the decay morals among our young persons and how that can truly be addressed. But anyway, to help us address the issues, I have two lovely guests right here in the studio. Gentleman that I'm always am. I'll need to introduce the lady first, and I'm talking of no other person but Mrs. Uju Ebuna. She's the lead administrator, Jopa Schools, right here in Ugele. Good morning and welcome to the show, madam.
Good morning. Thank you for coming.
Okay, and also, well, always an activist and a parent also, and you know we also need to bring the parents around to also look at the issue. I'm talking of no other person but activist Kevin Ejomodo, National Secretary, Human Rights Protection Congress, as the State PRO Committee for the Defense of Human Rights, joining us also in this. Good morning, welcome to the show, sir.
Good morning, Mr. Ray. Good morning, viewers.
Mrs. Uju, I rather want to start first with you. And like I said, the theme for this year's celebration is the teachers we need for the education we want. Now, do you feel that is the case as it concerns the curriculum we use in our schools in Nigeria?
Yes, I think that I actually love the teachers.
Okay.
You know, raising the teachers we need for the education we want.
Okay.
And as we all know, teachers play a key role in educating the children, you know, academic-wise. I think it's beautiful. I love the team. And it's important. You can't talk about education without teachers. We are like in the core. I'm a teacher, and I've been like a teacher for as long as I can remember.
Okay.
And I'm not just a professional teacher, but I'm a teacher at heart. I love my job.
Okay.
You know, and I love the teaching profession. And as a matter of fact, I say this everywhere, proudly so, that teachers, I don't want to compare with other professions anyway,
okay,
but we are the core of almost every other profession.
Which is true.
Yes, so I think I love the team.
But still looking at the team, do you also feel, because I need to ask this, do you feel the curriculum we're now presently using suits
the Nigerian?
Yeah, that's what I'm asking. Do you feel it suits the present reality of the day? Because, yes, let's look at it. Does it really fit the challenges that we're being faced in this modern generation? We're talking about ICT, digitalization of the world. Does our curriculum truly fit that now? And are we better, is it better preparing our children for a future that concerns all of us?
To be very honest, and to a large extent, I would say yes.
Okay.
The issue we are having with the curriculum, especially the Nigerian curriculum, is the implementation. That's where we have a challenge, you know, and our teaching methods as well. But the curriculum itself,
yes,
the newly revised curriculum in itself is very rich. But you know, it's one thing to have a curriculum, it's another to implement it with a goal in mind. So, and then when we're talking about implementation, a lot of things come into play. Do we have the gadgets?
Yeah.
Are we retraining staff every year, you know, to meet with the current realities of what a total education should be all about? When I talk about a total education, I'm speaking about that kind of education that prepares the Nigerian children to compete globally.
Yeah, among their peers.
Our curriculum in itself is rich. The ICT curriculum has recently been revised, but the challenge, like I always say, is
more of
implementation. Do we have the tools? Are we equipping our teachers? Do we once in a while, have our teachers go outside the country and sit with other teachers? We talk so much about Finland and how much
education has been
education-wise. But do we sit with these people to share ideas, like walk into their classrooms, ask questions, and see how we can implement, interchange? I believe our curriculum is rich in itself, but it's an implementation issue.
Well, Comrade Kevin Ojumodo, I need to come to you, knowing you're also a parent, and also you've dealt basically around these almost all your life. Do you share in her views, and do you feel what we teach our children are better preparing them for a future that is now more of a global one? Do you feel we have that and we'll be doing that, especially it concerns our curriculum?
First, I want to say congratulations to all teachers globally, to my mom.
It means a lot coming from a parent and someone that is also critical about their role.
My mom, she's a teacher. So nice, congratulations to her.
Okay.
Having said that, I would say the contemporary Nigerian education system does not match the global teaching pattern.
Okay.
I would say so with my full chest, because going from kindergarten stage to the primary stage, secondary stage, and also to tertiary institution, you find out that there's this bureaucratic rhetoricism that is being channeled from one point of our discourse and from learning to another point.
Okay.
In my honor level, we're taught is teaching a profession. Edu 101. They ask the question, is teaching a profession? They want to know, to expand our brain to see, okay, if really teaching is a profession. And some argue for, some argue against. At the end of the day, we say it's a profession. Good. But the profession that have been given little attention that is all to have gained. Now, you see, if you take a Nigerian undergraduate from Nigeria, for example, to the US, they do better. The reason they do better is teaching aids and teaching materials are available.
Okay.
And in terms of learning experience, your environment, you see, we have 3 domains of learning, which is called CAP: cognitive, affective, and psychomotor. In these 3 domains of learning, one has to do with cognitive domain. How does the child respond with the brain of what he has been taught in the classroom? 2, affective domain. How that which we taught, like where they tell us the election, they bring somebody and say, okay, you should vote for a prefect. Now we now understand the mindset. Okay, for you to have an election, there must be a voting, there must be an electoral empire. We now understand that part. In all of this, it's been dramatized with practicals. But in Nigeria today, they tell us to draw Amweba, and a lot of time we've not seen Amweba with our eyes. They tell you to draw the red blood cell and the white blood cell, but all of this will not be taken to the laboratory to have first-hand.
So do you feel that's where other climes seems to be different from what we have?
Absolutely, because if you look, I watch when they teach the kindergarten abroad. The classroom has a lot of colors, attractive colors, animations, and all that. Makes
school interesting.
Makes the child wants to learn. Then when they teach them about colors, they tell you, okay, you go pick blue. What the color of a bag? Say blue. You go and pick a blue ball to your bag. You go and pick a blue shirt to your bag. In all of this, learning becomes what? Interesting. And this thing, cleaves to the head of the child. Like me, what I was taught to my 100 level to date, they are still in my head. But what do? We have an updated library. Our libraries are not upgraded. You go today, they tell you, my career, write your project work will say, write oil spillage, the cause of oil spillage in Niger Delta, using, for example, Bayelsa as a case study. If she's graduating the next 10 years too, they'll still tell her to do that same thing. So in all of this, we do not have enough research methodology.
So you feel it does not fit with the modern time?
We don't. Hence, you see, even as our police officers, when they work in Nigeria, take them abroad, when they have the gadget, they do better. Because these things are being provided by the government, and it makes learning interesting. So
it's still in every way, yes, support what you talk about implementation. Because if it's not there, then how do you implement it?
And another question, while you were just speaking, I just felt like Nigerians, we don't have all of these gadgets for practical learning, hands-on learning. But how is it that when they travel outside the country, they do better than those who have all of these?
It's another question.
It's a good question. Now the reason that
the curriculum itself is not the problem.
No, the theory is already embedded in the head. Okay. So when they get there, they not see the practical. You know, an average Nigerian is a fast thinker. They willfully think their way through and say, what is that? What I was taught?
So that brings me to say,
loamy soil, sandy soil, and clay soil.
The issue is not.
We don't know the soil in a local environment.
So that brings me back to say the issue is not the curriculum, but we seem to be teaching them what they want, but modelizing it and putting it more practical is where the problem lies.
And bringing it into like modern day realities, like when we learn maths, how will maths help us to solve problems? Do you understand? So that's where critical reasoning comes into play. You're teaching agricultural science. You're teaching all of these subjects. How will you translate all of this knowledge? Because I think the reason why we are going to school is to solve the problems that we have locally,
in our everyday life.
So if you are going to school, an education that does not prepare you to be relevant in the society is not just about making money and feeding your family and all of that, jargon. You should be able to solve the problems that we face. In transportation, in agriculture, in government. That's why we are going to school.
Okay. Now let's go to the profession, because we can't be talking about schools if we do not have the teachers there in the first place. And Comrade Ojomo, you talked about teachers or profession in your initial say, and I feel I will need to come to you. Now, do you feel that we're not getting the best teachers when it comes to teachers really dealing with these curriculums and even teaching these children? And the reason I'm asking that, because let's look at it. Many persons will feel people going to the teaching profession as the last resort, especially looking for a job. And that's what we've seen over years. Do you feel that's the case? And that's why we've not also been able to forge ahead, irrespective of whether we're not having it too modern the way it should be like other climes?
Thank you. The first thing first is system failure.
Okay.
We have a big system failure as a country. Now, people go into the profession as a means to survive. Now, the passion for the job first is not there. I've seen teachers, I go to schools at times, I see teachers, they just give the children to go and sell bonds for them. Someone to buy bonds and sell bonds, they collect money, and then they tell you, you want to learn, okay, leave it, I've already learned mine. It's simple, no. They'll just close the book and they're off. We've seen teachers also that as early as Friday, by 11, they're out of the school, they have closed. Hence, they brought in the a cappella clocking to check with the ISSs to see you must clock in at when you are the time and when you also leave to check with the ISSs. That was also good. Now, the truth is, the passion for teaching first. Teaching is like you need an extra patient to impact that knowledge on the child. It's like a pastoral job. You must be ready to.
But pastors are getting it rich. Anyway, don't mind me. Just don't mind me. I needed to just drop that. Oh, come on, Jomo, just go ahead.
Okay. Now, if like my mom, when I was tender, my mom had a lesson at Nelson William in Warri.
Yeah.
She put me and my elder sister at the front of the lesson seat. At home, she asks us questions first, current affairs, maths, English, and all that, and tells you that I will use you as an example in the class. If you fail it, you know what that means. And when we come to lesson at times, she said, fidgeting, and she asked me a question and I failed it, she flogged me. That tells other students that if this teacher can discipline her own son, you know that if she's asking you, so she used me first as an example. So it makes me want to always do the best I can at that time. Now, most teachers go to school looking lukewarm. Some are not settled because the system itself have not get an environment for them. We've seen teachers in Kaduna that were sacked the other time. The exam that was set for them by the Kaduna State government, Nasir El-Rufai at that time, they failed it woefully. Why? Because you see, you do not retrain them and take them for courses. A teacher, one teacher will take like four subjects. Fatigue comes in. He or she get breakdown. You take maths, you take English, you take biology, you take geography, and you have like 6 courses in a day.
Okay, well, Comrade Ojomo, you said that, but I want to come to you, Mrs. Uju, and ask you, because, yeah, is it that the pay is the problem? That we're not having those required teachers there? Because let's look at it. If you look at the top 10 best paid countries in Africa, we have South Africa, leading the pack, Algeria, Morocco, Egypt, Equatorial Guinea.
When you speak about 10
best paid in Africa is what I'm talking about. As regard teachers. Even Burkina Faso teachers are being paid than Nigerians. Gabon, we're not among the 10 countries that pay with our huge population. We're not among the 10 best paying countries in Africa. So do you feel is the issue of the pay? Because like we always know, a former team, we grew up knowing that the teacher's reward is in heaven, which totally admits that the teacher has nothing right here. So do you feel that's also the problem that we're having, especially as it concerns teaching in Nigeria?
It's part of it. I love the way Comrade puts it. In fact, it sums it up very nicely. It's a system failure, right? It's a system failure. And of course, you want to be able to, you're working in an establishment for 30 days in a month or 28 or however it is, and you want to be motivated. The truth is, money is part of what motivates us.
Of course, most certainly.
No matter how passionate you're passionate about anything.
Yeah, if you do not get the reward.
You can speak of today, teachers are not interested in, your passion is nothing if you don't get reward at the end of the day.
Of course it is.
You understand? Because you have bills to pay, you have obligations to meet, you have so many things to do. So I think yes, responding to that question, the pay is part of it. In Finland, when they talk about Finland, they talk about how much teachers are one of the best. They're even more paid than medical doctors.
Yeah, almost like a celebrity
status. Can we do
status.
that here?
Of course
You
not.
understand? You said you made mention of the fact that people go into the profession as last resort. You understand? There's no other thing to do. There's no other. At least if I knock on the doors of any school, they'll give me, no matter how small, especially private schools. They'll give me a teaching appointment, and it's so sad, but this is the reality. It's our reality, and it's just what's happening right now.
Okay, Comrade Jomodo, I need to bring you into this. Yeah, she talked about Finland, and funny enough, Luxembourg, according to the OEDC 2023 report, even indicates that they're also one of the best paid in the world. And like I said initially, they have almost this celebrity status attributed to them. And if you go to that very country in East Europe, you'll be amazed with the development they've had in just 2 decades of putting so much emphasis in seeing how they can bring up their teachers. So do you feel the present problem we seem to be facing as a country, when we talk about the economy, security and morals, are all be a direct result of us not paying so much respect and giving that teachers should naturally have? Is that the problem we're now facing as a country?
Absolutely correct. Growing up, October 1st, we served food in our various schools to eat.
Yeah.
It gives us that beacon of hope that someday we'll get to that point of leadership and it gets better. We'll do a march pass, you see the excitement on the face of parents. We eat good food on that day. Now, in all of this, you see, Nigeria, we do not give priority to issues that ought to be prioritized. Now, what was our budget for education? It's poor.
Yeah.
What's the budget for the governors, the senators, the House of Rep members? It's very huge. So in all of this, people struggle to be more of a politician than to be a teacher. Like the likes of Chinua Achebe, the great poet. You see the wealth of knowledge they've impacted in literature. Why? Because they were sound. We also encounter others. And you agree with me that all our presidents today, as senators, they enjoyed free education system in the same country. Today, we now have oil, the economy is booming. You cannot invest heavily in your educational system. You see, I keep saying, like you see what's happening now, we're having quack doctors and nurses. A time will come that a teacher will not even be able to solve little arithmetics on the board, but they've just answered the name teachers. Because why? The system failure itself. Now, if you want a job, Michael, you might not be qualified to teach geography, for example, but because you know somebody at the political affairs, they will write your name there and say, give her or give him the job.
It's actually happening now.
And you go there, you see this thing. I did my teaching practice. When I left the school, the students were crying. When I left Christ International, the students, they were crying. They said they want me back. They told the principal they were crying.
Well, I never knew you were a teacher.
Yes.
Oh, wow. That means I'm bringing two teachers.
I read political science education.
Wow.
So I did my teaching practice at Christ International School at Odibo. I took them economics, commerce, and government. When I was leaving, they were crying. Like they said, they've never enjoyed this subject the way they enjoy it now, because
so it's all about the passion, and not just that, but placing your priorities right.
The government must first, like the school was conducive. During the heat of the afternoon, they turn on the generator and there's light.
Well, anyway, that was when fuel was about 50 naira per liter. I'll play with you,
in the classroom. Then you are relaxed, taking your lesson note and your lesson plan before you go
enjoying it. I'll
play
with you to hold on just as much as you, Mrs. Jude, also. We need to go on a break now. But when we come back, we'll continue our discussion and talk about something that's far more critical, and that is bringing back discipline to our schools and our children. You agree with me that morals seem to have, left the doors and left the shores of this country, all because we've also failed to increase and improve our educational sector. And how can we do that and bring it back again? Well, this is a question we'll be asking later. Let's go on a break.